Welcome back. You are live with Expresso. Thank you so much for tuning in after a bumper weekend of sport. It feels like I'm saying that all the time now. And, thank you for allowing me to be in this position to be talking about sport at this glorious stanza. Of course, the Springboks getting their rugby championship campaign. And we'll call it their Rugby World Cup campaign off to the perfect start, because this really is the preamble to that. 35-17 over the Australians. Brilliant, brilliant performance from just about every man on the field. Frustration and, I would say, heartache for our ladies on the netball front, just narrowly going down to Australia in the semi-final of the World Cup there as well. But so much to talk about. A diamond-studded weekend as well, if you're a kind of Simbine. Jeremy Harris, dude, you were there. You were there, man.
I was there, but it was ice cold in Johannesburg. But I mean,
whatever, buddy.
Well worth it.
Whatever. Where do we... I suppose we should start with Herschel Jantjies.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable individual and team performance, because he was that spark within the greater context. Everything you want out of a scrum half.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a key position, scrum half, and I mean, you've got to get normally very experienced players into that position. But he's obviously, hungry for international success. He's ready to make that step up. I mean, he showed it on Saturday. And even in practice, on the Thursday and the Friday, just watching him was like, well, these guys have obviously known each other for many years. But, I mean, they haven't. But it really looked seamless.
We know that this is a long-term project. We know that Russia has been working with the franchises, working with individuals. Yeah. It does feel like there is continuity, which is exactly what you need going into a World Cup. But we're also playing very big squads. Only a couple, I think 8 players are flying over to join the rest on the other side. And it feels like, I was joking on Friday, a very New Zealand approach to have 2 full teams. But key positions still need to fire. Individuals still need to fire. Frans Steyn looked like a 19-year-old hungry for the ball again when he came on. Francois Lowe was great in that fetching position. Absolutely brilliant. Elstad. Superb.
Absolutely.
Who were the stars? I mean, you could name just about every player.
Well, I was going to say, can I go through all 23 names? Look, I mean, I think that the guys who started had the challenge of immediately clicking, because it was the first game together for many, many months. But I mean, to your point, that the teams had been and the personnel had been sort of working together, in the background, and so it was almost like, well, this is maybe not our first game that we're playing together, because they'd gotten to know each other. And really, it was a really super performance from the teams. They were looking so good.
Where are Australia, do you think? Did we just frustrate them out of the game in a very Australian manner? Mm-hmm.
Look, we played the game at high speed. And I think that Rassie, even at the press conference afterwards, said, we're not there yet. We've still got some building to do. We've still got some sort of polishing to do. But I mean, if we've got building to do and polishing to do after that performance, well, we're only going to get much better from there.
Yeah, it didn't feel like rust or fatigue from Super Rugby. It felt more like growing pains about, okay, how do we capitalize on this wonderful new mix? Absolutely amazing. And of course, now we face the All Blacks, which is going to be a little bit intense.
It's going to be a great game. The All Blacks just sneaking home past the, I was going to say the Jaguares.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, past the Argentinians. And that says to you a lot about how they've closed the gap themselves, the Argentinians, in terms of world rugby.
Are they capitalizing on that momentum? Did it feel like you were watching the Jaguares in terms of how well they've grown in key facets?
Definitely. I mean, it really was a scenario where you looked at the Jaguares team and you thought, wow, the play pattern's a little bit sort of higher speed, higher, faster execution. But basically, I felt like I was watching, the guys in just a different jersey.
And kudos to them for capitalizing on that. 16-20, the final score there. So a successful rugby weekend, we'll chalk that off. Yep. I went all in for the netball this weekend, and maybe I jinxed us. Really, really frustrating time for our ladies on the netball front after showing so much promise, so much heart, so much fight back in that semi-final. 53-55. That's a bitter pill to swallow.
Now, then you've been in a netball match. And I think the one thing, well, a couple of things. Firstly, Carla Pretorius, player of the tournament, well done to her.
Speaks volumes, yeah.
Massive achievement there. And as you said, it speaks volumes. Norma Plummer must take a look at that and go, well, maybe we didn't do so badly after all, ending as the 4th place team, at the World Cup. But I mean, I think that what the Proteas did was to make netball very, very exciting. And all of a sudden, it was probably the best advert for the sport that we've ever had in this country.
And up against the big guns, and maybe it's time for us to start thinking of ourselves, because we always look at, sort of Australia and New Zealand, and kudos to New Zealand, obviously the champions.
Yeah.
And they were amazing against England in their semi-final, and it's amazing how often the semi is the more important, as the African Cup of Nations has taught us. That's often where kind of that watershed moment happens, but maybe we need to start considering ourselves the best team in the world and start acting like that from a player, from a support base. We always kind of think we're just there, the poorer cousin, but it's not the case anymore.
And the other thing, Graham, of course, is the fact that the speed at which the game is played. I think that we've certainly got that ability to play a fast game, and that's what the Kiwis particularly showed, was that a fast game wins you a game. And if we need to up the speed, I've got a view that that's something we could do.
Yeah, very unforgiving, we know, but you can't expect the ladies, after being that deflated, to go out there and beat England. They could have, but of course losing out to England, so they take the third spot there. Can we quickly round it off for Akani Simbine? What a performance in the IAAF Diamond
Brilliant.
League.
I mean, 9.93 is fast. I think that's quicker than any of us could boil a cup of water. I mean, it was so blitz, and it was lovely to see.
Took you longer to get you from that side of the studio today. Yeah.
Precisely. So quick, and certainly flying the South African flag as high and as fast as he could. He was just sort of in overdrive. It's sort of like the 30, 40 meter mark. He just sort of put down the afterburners and he was gone. And I don't think anybody was going to beat him. Yes, it was 200ths of a second, between him and second, but he was always going to win.
That's worlds apart. Luva Manyonga, he was there and thereabouts in the preliminary rounds, but in that final jump, he seems to have that magical BMT to just kick it in, and his final jump was spectacular. I was watching it. It's like, okay, he hasn't landed yet.
Yeah, still flying.
Just superb.
I've got a view that he and Rishwal Samai sort of hunt in a pack, and that they almost intimidate any other competitor, because they're always there and thereabouts, always wanting spots on the podium. And 8.37 is a long way to jump. And as you say, it took him a while to go from takeoff to landing.
10 steps. Let's take a quick little squiz at Akani Simbine's incredible diamond. I was going to say golden, but diamond and golden moment.
Start from Hughes, really good start there from Simbine in 4. He's going to take some catching. Darnell Hughes has got some work to do. I don't think he's going to get there, or is he? No! Simbine takes it. Well, there's an upset. 9.93. Brilliant run from the South African.
Oh, man, and with all the pre-tournament talk about Britt Hughes, an awesome moment there. You stick around, buddy. We've still got a lot to get through. Hopefully that's inspired you for the day ahead.